What's going on, guys? Today we have a new well, not so new crypto project, but new endeavors for a crypto project that might be very visible, the Wallstreetbets token, and they are launching new NFTs, and we have the founder behind all things Wall Street Bets, Jamie, in the hot seat today, and we're going to try to figure out, hey, is your project, is your time and is this worth our time, effort, energy, and money? Can we be investing? Why should we be looking at this particular project? Now, if you're new to this channel, my name is Aaron. I'm on a journey to as many Bitcoin. I say one Bitcoin per kid. You know what I'm saying? Like, I just had a baby. I'm trying to get as many Bitcoins and as many babies, but I'm trying to help you to your first Bitcoin. I'm not your financial advisor, so don't take it as that. I'm just a lizard brain, gorilla arm, diamond handed cowboy exploring the wild west of cryptocurrency with a whole bunch of other cowboys. If you want to join me, just hit the subscribe button down below and hit the saloon. I think the best thing you could do is get around a community of trusted individuals who are always talking to each other, making sure that, hey, you know what, this is a good project, this is not a good project, etc., etc. Now, if you're like me, you're trying to do research online, but what's the best investments that you could do in crypto? And I look on YouTube. You know, I don't know any better. But the thing is, when you look on YouTube, these YouTubers are getting paid to promote coins, and they do a terrible job, and developers aren't a lot of times happy. So what ends up happening is there's not really good information. Well, what I want to do is I want to have the founders, the CEOs, the developers online, and I want to interview them eye to eye, belly to belly, to see whether or not this is a good project for us to invest our time and money in. Okay, I get compensated, you get the best type of research, and the developer gets to make a stance on, just how good their project is. Now, what we're going to do here is we have the developer and the founder of the Wallstreetbets token, Jamie, in the hot seat. Welcome to the hot seat, my friend.
Hi, thank you very much for having me. Really looking forward to this, and congratulations on your baby, by the way.
I appreciate it. Yeah, it's about 4 days old, and
Oh, geez,
I
really
feel like
is.
it's all been one day.
Oh, it
So
will
it's
be
all
for
good.
I have a set of 3-year-olds, and it continues to feel like it's just been one long
Oh
extended day.
no! Don't tell me that. Don't tell me that. Well, I want to know just a little bit about you and your background, Jamie. Can you give me a quick origin story of who you are coming into crypto?
So I'm most known for having started Wall Street Bets, but for the most part, on my professional trajectory, just been a serial entrepreneur my whole life. I was actually born and raised in Mexico, and then I lived most of my adult life in the U.S., and now I'm back in Mexico, just enjoying it and continue to innovate and create things.
Awesome. If for the few of us who don't know what Wall Street Bets is or aren't familiar, maybe can you tell us what that's all about?
So Wall Street Bets is a community. It will start off as a community. Now it's kind of become this kind of mindset, which stands for empowerment. But it's a community where they discuss things that are investments related or trades or really risky YOLOs, if you want to call it that. And they became most famous around the world earlier this year when they did a big short squeeze on GameStop, shooting the price of that stock up.
Yeah, gotcha. And AMC too. And so there's a lot of like crazy investors in there who just are tired of this financial unfairness leveraged against us and all that. And like you said, it's like become really of a mindset now, which I appreciate. Like I see like big time YouTubers have the little icon of the Wall Street Bets, the little guy, you know what I mean, on the yacht and stuff. So I appreciate that. So tell me about the Wall Street Bets token, right? That was on the stock side. That's a community on the stock side. How did that transfer into crypto?
So, I followed crypto when it started with the Bitcoin. I started mining it and lost my wallet like most other people. But then Bitcoin just like a coin, and it really didn't have a place where it fit really well into Wall Street. And I never reassessed that. And that was a huge mistake because I just assumed that Bitcoin and Ethereum and this coin and that coin, they're all just coins with supply and demand. But crypto, the blockchain, has this ecosystem that has this, what they're calling DeFi, but even that name falls short of a parallel ecosystem that can coexist and plug into the existing financial system. So long story, Wall Street Bets, DApp, this token that we've created, is actually marrying the stock market with cryptos, taking the best of both worlds, and creating really fun, accessible, further pushing the whole democratization of things, right? Just as a brief example, like if you want, I saw that after the meme stocks, after GameStop and AMC, all these things, there's a handful of meme stock ETFs that came out. These are like baskets of investments. And they're like, yeah, we're just going to invest in whatever, the social media is talking about. but they have to like file paperwork and take their time to, get approval to do these things. The blockchain can create those same exact things instantly. You can rebalance them 10 times a day if you wanted to, using actual stocks as collateral, right? And so, like, why not have, especially if you're having something like a meme stock ETF, like by definition, it needs to stay on time and it needs to be very topical. So that's one of many examples of what it is that we're doing. And through this token, people make up the governments. They can vote on things. They can control the funds that are generated from the activity on there. And it's really community driven, which is probably the thing that's most important when it comes to Wall Street Bets.
It's interesting. When I first heard about Wall Street Bets, it was a little bit before like the whole short squeeze and all that stuff, and I was just like, man, this sounds crazy. This is like this Reddit, and it all sounds so sketchy. But then as I started to see like what it was actually doing, right, it started actually empowering people in a crazy type of way. That's what really, that mindset really got me going for Bitcoin and crypto and blockchain. Where this like, I am tired of like the forces of the economy all around, like trying to squeeze the little guy, which is me. Is that something that you've seen? Like, can you talk to me a little bit about the mindset of like the average everyday lizard brain guy like me? Like, what is happening as a big scale, like meta narrative of what's happening in economy and with how that translates to the individual?
There's a huge parallel that exists in crypto and Wall Street Bets mentality, and including when they were formed, within years of each other, on the heels of the financial crisis. Sorry, like is at the end of the financial crisis of 2008, right? People are pissed about the banks, the central power is the 99%, whatever it is. And you can see that in the language of Bitcoin saying, screw the central bank. This is how we're going to take back our power, whatever. Wall Street Bets had kind of the same little feel approach to it. In fact, like I started because I was mad about some of these things that existed, but decided, hey, if you can use them, why complain about them? So it's the whole system. It's like, if you can't beat them, join them type thing, but let's actually try and fix the system from the bottom up, right? Not try to replace the system as much as Bitcoin's language was implying early on. Now I think Bitcoin's going to coexist, and I believe that's going to be the same case with his retail investors. But this philosophy of saying, look, I want to be able to take power too. If I want to lose my money, let it be me that loses my money, not the bank or the hedge fund or whatever it is.
Right.
And let's also find ways to try and make some money, right? Like there's a lot of inefficiencies that are in the market that can be exploited from retail investors. We saw that with collectively buying up certain stocks. But even before that happened, there was like just this ethos. There was shortly after, like a year before that happened, these guys figured out how to get like infinite margin on Robinhood, and so they could take out $1 million basically loans for free, and they can put them on whatever stocks they want to. That's something that only a retail person has the ability or the guts to do, right? Because there's not going to be a bank that does that. But it's like, well, I don't have $1 million to pay for it, whatever. Like, it's their risk. The banks did the same thing when they were saying, hey, AIG, when they said, I don't have the money to pay all these, be the counterparty risk for all these things, the government's going to have to bail me out. So these people are like, well, someone's going to have to bail me out because I'm not going to pay $1 million. So might as well YOLO it. So, and they continue to do that, right? There's going to be a lot of inefficiency. At the end of the day, it all serves that same purpose of let's make the market better. Let's make people more empowered. Let's make this thing more accessible. So cryptocurrencies have had a different approach to try to get to the same place as retail traders have.
So you started, trading with stocks and this group, and then you've had this notoriety, and then it's probably died down, or it's somewhere in the middle there. I haven't really kept up with it, to be honest. But now you've verged into crypto. Before we get into the actual crypto project, I just want one last question. What have you learned through this whole journey, probably in the past year, as an investor, as someone who's putting together communities? What's like the most important thing that you've learned that's really changed your perspective on things, or give me a little bit of insight onto who you are as far as your whole journey in the last year?
So actually, before I even answer that question, it just occurred to me that there was a really fun example I wanted to share as to how these people can take a different inefficiency. So I'm currently in the process of creating what's called the Nancy ETF. right? Recently, Nancy Pelosi and her husband have been in the news because they're such wonderful investors, and they really are. I mean, like they outperformed Bitcoin in the last decade, which is like impressive.
So crystal ball even
Crystal ball,
investors.
but they're really good, right? But not like they're cheating or anything, but they're just really good. So we, and based off publicly available information, we can then know what it is they're investing on, and we can use the crypto technology, which can instantly be reading all their public disclosures to be able to get a hold of that, and just give that ability to normal people as well. Normal people like myself, or that's not nearly as skilled as other people are. So looking forward to doing that. And that uses blockchain technology to be able to spit that out. But we're going to put that on the NASDAQ. So it'll be available on the stock too.
That's amazing. But you're not really telling me that Nancy Pelosi is an amazing investor, are you?
Oh, absolutely. She's the greatest investor that I've ever seen in a long time. She's got
Get
well over
out.
100%.
Get out.
Well over 100% annualized returns with 12% drawdown. You can't argue with that. Not even Warren
Get
Buffett can
out.
do that.
I know about this. Other investors and stuff, they set alerts to her because they call her Nancy the Whale, and they set alerts to her buy and sell orders. They need as to just copy whatever she does.
Look here. There's some people that like to speculate that maybe she's got some type of competitive advantage. But she quickly put that to bed because she said it's not her that does the investments. It's her husband. So if she happens to have any additional tips or whatever it is, nothing to do with her. I believe her, right? Like I believe her. She seems honest.
I know what you're doing.
And, and I think that it's great. And no matter what, they're doing really well with their portfolio. So I just want to be able to make money alongside of them.
Agreed. Well, I'm glad you dodged that legal bullet right there. And let's talk about that's a hilarious ETF. Let's talk about Wallstreetbets token. Where are you guys right now in the development of your token? What's going on in your community? What are you guys trying to do?
Well, I guess maybe that could have been the first answer to my development of my community. So WSB, what it is, it's this decentralized kind of community that's on the blockchain that now has the ability to do all sorts of really cool stuff. So we have tens of thousands of people that come together. We have chat rooms and Telegram or Discord or on our website, on our forum. We have different places where they congregate, and they come up together. They talk about ideas. They'll talk about different stocks, whatever it is. But then they'll say, all right, well, or we'll kind of propose it because this thing is still kind of young. We'll help nudge the conversation and say, hey, let's create an ETP, which is like an ETF for the blockchain. And we'll say we can put whatever you want in it. We can put a basket of crypto coins if you want to do that, or you can mix and match them, where you can put an ETP with Bitcoin and with Tesla. And you can decide how much weight to put in it. We've already launched what we're calling them stonks, which is like synthetic stocks. These are basically mirrored assets, right? Where people get exposure to the underlying. So if you want to buy Apple, you can go in there through your Ethereum wallet, whatever coin you want to use. You can buy the Apple stock. Now this thing, or you can buy the share or a fraction of it. It'll move up and down according to whatever the actual stock is doing. The benefits to it is it's open 24/7, opening the opportunity for some good arbitrage. We have no KYC, no borderless, like anybody can get in, right? So it really does, if people want exposure to it, and that's great. But the downside is it doesn't actually buy the stock, right? It just does a bunch of tricks to end up with that number. But we're on the verge, very close to announcing the actual tokenized version of that. So that when you buy your Apple shares using that particular mechanism, there's going to be a share that's purchased underneath, thereby putting pressure on the market, contributing to price discovery, giving you access to the dividends, shareholder voting rights, all that good stuff, right? But you did it all on the blockchain, and it's available 20 hours a day, which is pretty cool. Like not 24, but 20. Still pretty cool, right? Still going to pressure Wall Street into getting their act together and changing their setting on their computer so that the stock market's open 24/7.
Yeah.
Anyway, so we create other things in that world. So there's anything from like really risky stuff that can be as speculative as you want. And right now we've actually also taken really conservative approaches. We released a couple weeks ago this macro hedge ETP, which is like almost like a stable coin. It behaves like it. It's not meant to really YOLO. It's not meant to go up or down. It's meant to really stay about the same price. but without being able to lose your purchasing power. So it's kind of like beating inflation and or other macro level, events that might mess with either the dollar or Bitcoin or gold or whatever other assets. But nevertheless, it's a place for parking money safely. And so it's whatever the community wants to come up with, they come in. And the coolest thing about this is whenever people buy these stocks or stonks or ETPs or whatever it is that they do through our website, there's fees built into these transactions, and the fees that are generated get rolled up into a treasury wallet, right, which is controlled by the very governance that created these things. So I'll walk you through an example. You'll have 10,000 people say, let's make Robinhood available on stocks, on the tokenized stocks. And so then they vote on it. They say yes. They make that thing available. Now, anybody in the world can now buy this new Robinhood stock that's through the blockchain. All right. You don't have to be part of the Wallstreetbets thing. You just go to our website and you just buy it with your Ethereum wallet. That generates a fee. It gets rolled up into the governance. And then those 10,000 people or whatever, they can say, now we have $10,000 or $100,000 or $1 million to spend. What do we want to spend it on? Do we want to burn our tokens and make it go up? Do we want to buy a Super Bowl commercial? Do we want to whatever? We had a billboard on Times Square a couple weeks ago. Like it's just really fun stuff, right? And so it's this concept. It's like by the people, for the people, with the people, and it's really fun.
Yeah, that's awesome. Looks like, so I'm going to try to capsulate some of this, and I've got a lizard brain, so you're gonna have to. I'm not very versed on stocks, so you're gonna have to like help me walk me through like what an ETP is and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But let me start off with the easy stuff. I get the stable coin that you've got coming out. It's mainly just to be a stable coin, and that's pegged to the dollar then, right?
No, because the dollar is not stable. The dollar is losing ability to purchase its own stuff.
Okay, gotcha.
Right?
I see what you're saying. That made sense because you were saying like, hey, no one can mess with it like the dollar. So it's just meant to stay at a steady.
Yeah, it contains dollars in it. I don't remember what it's got. It's got a few different forex currencies plus gold and Bitcoin and I forget what else. But it's been back tested for all these different things. It's meant to. I mean, if you put it on a chart, you'll see that it does go up really slowly. But if you plot it up against inflation, it'll keep par. So if you pay, if you paid $5 for movie tickets 20 years ago, and now you pay $20 for them, like this thing is now going to be worth 4 times as much in 20 years or whatever.
Got it. Okay, so you created that, and the reason why you created that is because the community, by governance, they wanted something like that. So we did it.
That's correct. And because we wanted to showcase, look, this government, this concept is new. It's only been around for a few months, right? So a lot of these things that we do, we have to partner up with existing technologies that allows us to do that. We're not reinventing the wheel. It'll take way too long. So there's people that specialize. So, with that particular one, we wanted to showcase this technology that allowed us to plug all of these different concepts together. And this was a really good asset. So at the time, at this moment, it's a combination between the community and our ability to pick out like the lower hanging fruits to say, this one seems like it's relatively easy because we're going to do this for the first time ever. We sign contracts, we make agreements, we test it, etc.
Makes sense. Okay, got it. So now I'm going to move to something where I have less knowledge on is the ETP. All right. And what you're saying is it's a basket of things that you want to put in. So it could be like Bitcoin. It doesn't have to be just cryptocurrency. It could also be, Tesla, the Tesla stock in there.
Yep.
And it would average out the difference between all of those and then kind of measure it out, or how does that work exactly?
I mean, it's relatively simple. So if you say I have $100 and I would like to invest 70% of that into Bitcoin, 20% of that into Tesla, and 10% of that into Ethereum, what you would have to do is turn around and figure out how much each of those things cost, and then buy a fraction of that thing so that your portfolio still has $100 in it, but most of it is inside of, I forgot what I said, Tesla, Bitcoin and Ethereum, whatever it was. This thing wraps it all up into a single, what appears to be a token or a coin or whatever it is. It's a symbol. And this concept exists already in Wall Street. And I'm almost positive it exists in the blockchain. So then what you do is like, dude, I want to be able to have that exact same composition in my portfolio, but I don't feel like clicking 3 different times. And I don't want to have click to sell 3 different times. So I'll just buy this one thing, right? And now inside of that thing is all the other stuff.
Gotcha. And that's a what is that? A token? That's a token right there.
Yeah. So in the normal stocks world, that's called an ETF. An ETF almost looks like a stock. It's got a symbol. You can buy a share in it. You can buy 2 shares in it. On the blockchain, it's called an ETP. It's the same exact thing, and it's a token. But you, unlike normal shares, where you can sometimes fractionalize them if the broker lets you. But on the blockchain, you can fractionalize everything. So if you want to just buy zero point 0.2 tokens, then you buy 0 point 0.2 tokens, right? Just like with Bitcoin.
Yep. You know, that's funny. I mean, I've never seen something like this on blockchain before. I was a little familiar with it on stocks, but you know, I've got a little lizard brain. I've never seen that before on.
Well,
blockchain.
To my knowledge, it doesn't exist, right? This is the first of its type, right? And we're merging those two things.
Got it. Okay, understood.
Yeah.
Understood. So that's what I was like, man, I thought, am I talking stocks here? Or am I talking crypto? Because I've never seen this on crypto. And it seems so obvious, right? Something, just take what's already out there on the finance, you know, in the stocks, and just move that same product right over to crypto.
And not only just moving it to crypto, but also marrying it with crypto, right? Because you can easily set up this type of product that just does crypto assets. If you wanted to do that same example using Bitcoin, well, it's actually, if you wanted to make it super easy, you would make it like the same network. So you would take like Ethereum and then Polygon or whatever. I forget what things are on the ERC. You make them all the same thing, and then you put them all, wrap them up in this piece of cake, right? More complicated is if you want to try and jump networks. Much more complicated if you want to jump like asset classes like equities, which is what we're doing.
Right. But you don't actually own the coins. You just own this token that is pegged to those coins.
Well, it's not pegged to those coins. It's actually collateralized by those coins.
Oh, well, so, yeah. It does.
You don't own the coins, but there is a mechanism by which this ETP can be redeemed instantly for whatever those things are inside of it. It's a technical answer, right? But it's an important one, because one just pegs it and just copies the value. For people that are in finance, that has a very specific implication. And for people that are actually exerting pressure on the underlying, if you want to talk about short squeeze, it doesn't matter if the whole world buys a synthetic GameStop. If you buy a thing that's pegged to the GameStop price, not going to make the price go up, even if the whole world buys $10 bazillion worth. But if it does actually have to buy the stock, then you're actually changing the price. So what we're doing is we're actually changing the price of stuff.
Gotcha. Okay, gotcha. So that's really interesting. Why do you think that hasn't happened before? Because it seems so obvious that someone should jump on and create something like this.
I don't know. I'm still relatively. It started like 6 months ago. I'm still relatively new to crypto, and so I don't have a lot of this experience. But if I were to guess right off the cuff, there's a lot of momentum behind, we saw it in 2017, this whole, let's try and make money really quickly with the ICOs. And there's a lot of attraction towards, let's just buy the coin that's going to go to the moon. This year you have Dogecoin and Shiba and SafeMoon and all these coins. The only thing they promised to do is go to the moon, right? And they have it, and they get a lot of traction because it's understandably something that people are interested in, is making money, right?
Yep.
We're trying to think past that. It's a lot harder to do what it is that we're doing, because you actually have to really think things through, and you have to make these arrangements and test it and whatever it is. But we know that once the dust settles and once the world of crypto starts maturing, and then people start looking for things with genuine value, this entire ecosystem that we've created is going to deliver that. So it's harder work for less moon, if you want to put it that way, in the short term. But in the long term, it's going to be it's going to be a powerhouse of intrinsic value. And so as we continue to ramp up.
Yeah, I think so too. I think like a new investor would come in and buy one of these things and be like, look, I don't know what to buy. Someone just pick something really good for me, and then just buy this thing. And now you've got a good mix of goods that that you don't have to go and research and buy yourself. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely. No, it does simplify. And that's part of what makes people empowered, is making things more accessible. The reason why in the stock world, why Robinhood is really popular is because they make it really easy to buy stocks, and they did it marvelously. And so crypto still needs to get into that needs to mature as far as the interface is concerned, because it's not user friendly at all. I don't care how far it's come from what it used to be. It's still worlds away from where it needs to be, but it'll get there, right? And people want to be able to control this. They want to be able to do this anywhere, anytime, without any difficulties. And so that goes towards that philosophy.
Yeah, and that's what I'm doing anyway. I'm just buying index funds. Just I don't even care about that retirement part of my life. I all I care about is crypto. But I get what you're saying. This makes it so much simpler. Now with Wallstreetbets token, you guys are coming out with new NFTs. Tell me a little bit about that.
So we are coming up with NFTs. We released them yesterday. The genesis is called the Diamond Hands Pass. These are beautiful art with all the different properties or whatever, and they're going to come with, just in the same spirit that the Wallstreetbets token is jam-packing utility. Same thing with these NFTs, right? Like, I believe that this current kind of phase that we're in with NFTs, there's a lot of excitement. There's a lot of money to be made. I played around with them, made a buttload of money with these things. They're fun, but some of that excitement's going to wane off in the longer term, and only the projects that do offer some sense of utility or benefit are going to be the ones that survive. So we created these things because everything is community based, right? Wallstreetbets has its power because of the community. This token, this governance thing, everything I described, it's all about the people in the community. Let's also create NFTs which do a really good job with putting together communities. I go into the Discords all the time. People are so excited and like, yay, just having parties with music and actual DJs, and it's a lot of fun. That's pretty cool. And so we want to give some of that. And so these NFTs are going to be a further kind of glue to help stitch together the community and give them things to be excited about. Some of the utility that's being built into it right out of the starting gate is higher percentages for yield farming. We're giving everybody an unstoppable decentralized domain. So this is like, wallstreetbets.nft or .crypto. I forget all the different domains that they don't have the .eth, but they have like .coin, a bunch of really good ones. And so people that have this NFT can then go register for their free domain. We're having additional airdrops for 3 new NFTs that are pretty much been designed already, like a bull, a bear, and an ape. We're having a party in Miami next month. At the end of the month, we haven't announced it yet, but it's at a ridiculously awesome venue with ridiculously cool people that are going to show up. These are big names, influencers, and people, things that people will be happy to take selfies with. And
you haven't announced this party? I'm like 2 hours away from Miami. Can I sneak in?
You need to buy an NFT. If you buy an NFT, you can get in.
Bam. That's what's going to have to happen. So that's awesome. So there's a lot of like utility to these. Like an NFT could be a ticket, yield farming. You get a domain name, an unstoppable domain name, which is great.
Yep.
I'm guessing you can stake it
to find stuff to do it. Yeah, you can stake it to get. We're going to try right now. The token exists on Binance Smart Chain. But we're trying to make it multi-network, and we're in the process also of bridging it over to Ethereum. The NFTs can be bridged to Binance it back, but we want to try and do the Ethereum component of it go hand in hand. So you can stake your NFT and get some WSB tokens through Ethereum that way. And we'll continue to do stuff, right? Like, it's just what do people want to be able to see, and what are we able to deal with what we have, and let's make it happen.
What's really striking to me is your emphasis on the community's voice. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of times people feel like a little stifled. I myself feel stifled, but that's why I loved blockchain, especially governance about the blockchain, right? Like the ability to just kind of voice your opinion and not be stifled, and just kind of the collective group deciding what do we want? Let's make an exchange trade portfolio, whatever that is, right? Let's create one, or let's create a stable coin for ourselves, or let's create this staking. So talk to me about like, why is the community's voice so important for you? Like for me, it's like, I don't want to be silenced, but what is it for you being like the backer behind all this, kind of make this happen? Why is community so important, especially not censoring the voice?
Yeah, I mean, coming up from the backer of the community, it became very readily apparent very early on that these things have power because of the people inside of them. I don't pretend to take credit for not almost none of the cool things that have happened inside of Wall Street Bets, like over the past decade or anything outside of Wall Street Bets. It's always people that come together. GameStop was brought about, like the poster child for that was Keith Gill / Deep Effing Value, Roaring Kitty, whatever it is. He was a community member just like everybody else, right? And he had this kind of idea, this vision. People loved it and they got behind it. Before him, it was some other individual that did the thing with the infinite margin. And before him, it was Irony Man, which is my personal favorite, the guy that did this thing with box spreads. And who knows what the next one's going to be, right? But it's always been everyone's collective coming together and putting their ideas to work. Without that, it doesn't work. Without that, I don't pretend to be smart enough to come up with half the incredibly
understood. But
understood,
but there's a component that you hold that's so important to like make sure it all works properly. You know what I mean? Like these communities can't just do it themselves. There's got to be like this underlying rebar, and that's kind of how I see you, like this rebar to hold this community together. Do you see it? Do you agree with that, or is it really?
You have to kind of shape things and push them and herd them into into a productive. How do you put this? You have to cultivate the culture of it. You have to give the community the empowerment to be able to do these different things. And yeah, like if the community goes out there and says, we want you to take that money so that you can back somebody for president, right? I'm just like, no. I'll put my foot down and say, like, sorry, that we can't do, because that's not what we're here to do, right? We're talking about stocks, investments, crypto. Let's keep things on subject. Anything is fair game as long as that's on subject and it's not illegal, right? Mm-hmm. But it doesn't take a whole lot. People show up and they're there for that purpose. If you want to go talk about Bitcoin in a chat room, you go to a Bitcoin chat room and you talk about that. And you're not going to bring up your sports team, right? Because you'll either get paraded or no one's going to know what you're talking about. And if you want to talk about your sports team, you go to that chat room and don't talk about Bitcoin. So it's not as tricky as you think it is.
Okay. So help me understand kind of the future of where Wall Street Bets is going. I know you said it's a lot of community driven, so you don't really know. They're just all going to vote on itself. But where would you like to see Wall Street Bets go? Because maybe 8 months ago you didn't know it would be into crypto, and now you are in crypto. What would you like to see the next iteration of Wall Street Bets take?
I mean, I want it to continue staying true to its core philosophy and to its ethos, right? Let's continue to stay on top of the latest changes and the latest everything that's taking place. Not losing sight of that individual empowerment around the world, not losing sight of having fun in the process and hopefully making money along the way, right? These are two important ingredients that make this thing special and give it the genuine interactions that exists on these communities. I don't know what's going to happen next, because it's impossible to have guessed what was going to happen with either cryptocurrencies or with stocks or with the economy or with geopolitical things. But as long as this crowd is adapting and there's new things and new forces that come into play, and then Wall Street Bets and all the street bets, by the way, there's like, crypto street bets and India street bets and silver street bet. And it's just like a street bets, this way of thinking. So continue to do that to make sure that people feel like they have a voice and take advantage of that.
Yeah. What do you think about, just really quick, I'm just curious. One thing that really bothers me, but I'm not sure if it bothers you a lot, but it bothers me that I feel sometimes stifled, or, it's just happening on social media. Where do the whole ethos of Wall Street Bets, like you said, is fun, make some money, join a community, right? It's the community's voice. Where do you think that, how does the future look like when blockchain is here integrating and trying to shake up some of these centralized banks, centralized social media platforms, centralized even governance? I mean, you're displaying decentralized governance in Wall Street Bets as well. How do you think it's going to shake up? Blockchain is going to shake up all those, legacy systems.
What I hope happens, and what I also kind of secretly assume is going to happen, is it's not going to replace anything, right? It's going to coexist with it and it's going to improve it.
Hmm.
So, what we saw coming out of GameStop, right? There was all sorts of things that happened outside of that. I'm not going to get into that side note, but one of the things that looks like we're going to get out of that is the process by which trades are settled. This is a really boring topic, which resulted in why Robinhood had to stop, letting people trade things. If they make an improvement on that, the system is going to be better thanks to GameStop through a really roundabout, screwed up way. That makes things better for all humanity. So I think that crypto should continue to push, encroach into the establishment, if we want to call it that, and try to improve it. It can't replace it. It's not going to, but it can make it better. I made a reference earlier. I joked about how they need to change the settings, right click and go to properties on the New York stock market to make it open 24 hours, right? Like,
Yeah.
why did somebody have to go out of their way to say close this thing out at 4? Because then you have this Chinese news coming out of Evergrande saying whatever on a Sunday, and then Monday the stocks open and everything's crashed and it blew over your stops. People have to sell everything and buy it. It's so crazy. Just keep it open. The computer, you don't have to come to the office. You don't have to put on your suit. Don't worry, but you can just let the computers handle these things in the after hours. That is going to be a huge improvement for the stability of the system. The transparency of it, same thing. The global participation, right? Like the stock markets, financial markets as a whole, Bitcoin, everything included, has a really productive purpose, which is price discovery. That's people agreeing on what price to pay for stuff, right? Like that's good for humanity. So the more people that participate in that process, the better that number that it spits out is. So let's continue to do that. So I don't think it's going to replace. I think it's going to improve.
Gotcha. That's very interesting. I like that take on it. For me, I thought I was going to replace it, but yeah, I think it makes more sense that it's going to improve things before it. I mean, like replacing is like so far down the line. I'm just super impressed by how you're able to move it from Reddit to blockchain, incorporate governance, start developing, to take the community and start developing new things. I think that's wildly successful. I think that's awesome. Last thing here is someone's watching this video right now, and if you guys are interested, check out their links in the description down below. Check out Wall Street Bets, check out the DApp, check out everything that they're doing. What would you like someone to do right now to if they have no prior experience with Wall Street Bets as far as the token goes? You want them to buy the NFT, you want them to buy the coin, get into the community. What's the number one thing that they should be doing?
Like you, I don't give advice, but I do know how it's probably going to end up. I would say go in there and buy something, whatever you want. I'm not going to tell you which one. The NFT, sure, I'll be happy. The coin, sure, I'll be happy. Any of our products that are on the thing, I'll be super happy. But if you decide to buy something else, whether it just be normal Bitcoin or a share of Apple or GameStop, whatever it is, or like a government bond, I don't care. It's going to be great because you're going to then have this, or an NFT like that's from anybody else. I've done this myself. I buy the NFT and then I sit there reading about it all day long. I learn about it. I get excited about it. I check the floor price, whatever. Like it's this conduit to which you're going to be motivated to learn. So no matter which thing it is that you pick and purchase, you're going to want to get involved. It's going to start up your natural curiosity, and that's going to lead to wherever it is that you're interested in going, right? Obviously, it's infinitely better if you decide to experiment with the Wall Street Bets products because we're just awesome. But
Yeah.
but whatever it is that you guys want to do, it's absolutely essential to just get your hands dirty. Don't just risk a little bit of money. Don't worry. If you lose it, it's fine. If you don't lose it, it's fine too. And hope you're able to come out on top.
Yeah, absolutely. Just curious about you. What's something that you're interested in right now or curious about right now, especially in regards to crypto?
NFTs.
Yeah.
I'm very, very drawn to NFTs, and I'm not talking about like look at these pixelated things that are worth a lot of money. Like those are cool, but yeah, there's a case study to be had with the actual crypto punks and whatever it is. But all these other the ones that come out the copycats, like not interesting to me. Just like Bitcoin wasn't interesting to me when it was just a price, right? But I think that there's something really there, and I don't know what it is yet, and I don't think anybody knows what it is there. But there's something about the technology, the community behind the money that exists inside of this ecosystem, and the flexibility that it affords you to have this kind of financial looking financial product.
Yeah.
So I'm really excited to see how this develops.
It's insane. NFTs are just wild to me. You know what I mean? Like they're worth so much money sometimes, and it looks like this like pixelated turd. It's like and and then theoretically you could sell houses and cars with that, and you could governance with that, and you could it's just crazy. NFTs are I
It
think you're
is.
right on. I think that's the most intriguing thing for me too. It's like what are we dealing with here?
Yeah.
Guys, if you're watching this interview, thanks so much for watching so far. Check out Wall Street Bets at the DApp. Check them out. The description's down below. I got one final question for you, Jamie. Is this out of a sea of cryptos out there? If there's someone still on the fence about Wall Street Bets, what's your like last thing that you'd want to say to them to say, hey, you know what, you should check us out if they're kind of like on the fence about you?
YOLO.
In true Wall Street Bets fashion.
Do
YOLO.
it.
Yeah, just I love it. It's the spirit of the community in itself, guys. Thanks so much for watching, guys. You don't overthink things, right? YOLO, as Jamie says, have a lizard brain, gorilla arms, and you know what? In a salute to Wall Street Bets because they invented this term, diamond hands, cowboys ride together. We'll see you guys on the moon. See you guys.